What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time on, we had come up with a master plan with the other club members of faking Rika's death 48 hours and making sure the mound dogs and Takano in turn find her body after 48 hours in order to disprove their theory that the village will go insane 48 hours after Rika's death, so it can help out Tomoki's investigation into it, in that the quote-unquote Bloodhounds, which is another unit, part of the Tokyo organization, can come in and sweep this whole situation under the board. So, yeah, there's really nothing else to talk about, so let's just get right into it. I've been waiting for a while. Another nice day in Himzawa. The preparation for tomorrow's festival is moving right along at the Furude Shrine. Vans and pickup trucks are bringing in tents and equipment, and the village youth group and some middle-aged men are unloading them.
リカちゃま、だいぶ具合が悪いらしいね。大丈夫かいの？
今日も学校休んだっちゅう聞いたんね。長引かっといいね。
ああ、入江先生。リカちゃまの具合はどうですんね。
はい。ちょっとたちの悪い風邪だったようですが、峠は越していると思います。ただ、風邪は治り際が肝心です。本人たちにも今日は治ったとはしゃがず、布団の中でおとなしくしているように注意してきたところです。
ああ、そうかそうか。さとこちゃんも一緒に風邪をひいてるんか。二人で仲良く風邪だもんで、ついつい遊んじゃうんだろうの。
風まで一緒とは、リカちゃまとサトコちゃんは本当に仲良しだね。ああ、ちょうどいいところに。入江の先生がね、リカちゃまたち峠は越したって言うてんね。
へえ、そうかいそうかい。それはよかった。それで明日の炎演舞なんだけど、さすがに無理がねえ。
本人はやると言って聞かないんです。皆さんがやってくれと頼めば、多分喜んでやってしまうでしょう。ただ医者の立場としては、たとえ今日熱が下がっていても、明日は大役をお休みさせてあげたいところです。
困ったね。ああ、お涼さん、リカちゃまの具合ね、よくはなってきたけど、まだまだ安静なんだってよ。
そんな仕方ねえな。無理にやらせて祭りの日に倒れられた日にゃ、またお社様のたたりだなんて言われちまうんよ。
いや、村のみんなも心配してるよ。また5年目のただりもあるんじゃないかって言ってね。で、北条家の里子ちゃんとリカちゃんもだろ。物騒な想像してる連中もいるらしいんだよ。
アホらしい。リカちゃまはお社様の生まれ変わりよ。そのリカちゃまがたたりに会うときは、村が滅ぶときよ。
Ain't that the truth?
演技でもねえこと言うんでね。
いやはや、まったくだよな。
入江先生、二人を見舞うことはできんかいね。
しばらく遠慮してあげてください。治りかけで遊びたい盛りなんです。外部との接触があると興奮して、また床を抜け出そうとしてしまいますから。
そうかそうか、それなら無理でけんな。入江先生、あの二人を頼むな。リカちゃまだけじゃねえ。 さとこちゃんも頼むな。
Really? That's surprising. Oryu-san always acts as if she doesn't even see Sadako-chan. But she just asked me to take care of Sadako-chan too. Once again, showing Oryu's true personality, or true person.
もちろんリカさんももちろんサトコちゃんも絶対に元気にしてみせますよ。お任せください。
もし間違いがあったら、またお社様のたたりなんて言われちまう。内里先生、昭和も50年にもなって、人類が月にまで行っちまうような時代にもなって、まだたたりなんてアホくさいとは思うんかいね。
思いますね。
ダム戦争の頃は確かにうちらはそれを煽ったし利用もした。でもな、ダム戦争はとっくに終わっとるん。いつまでもたたられてばっかりではいつまでたってもダム戦争が終わらんのよ。
サトコちゃんが死ぬとダム戦争のたたりだと言われるからですか？
ダム戦争はもう終わったんよ。村の子が風邪ひいたら心配するのが年寄りの仕事だっちゅうだけやんね。
I already know what Oryu-san wants to say. I want her to actually say it. But if I made her, she might get angry. This is more than enough. When she talks about the dam conflict, she doesn't just mean the war they waged against the construction itself. She's also including how the Hojo family was ostracized after it was over. She's saying that the dam conflict is over, including everything that happened as a result of it. That's why she told me to take care of Sadako-chan.
サトコちゃんもお見舞いの気持ちを汲み取ってくれると思いますよ。
あんないたずらぼんずに年寄りの心なんざわらわら。
Oryu-san left, laughing. I wasn't the only one watching her leave. Kimiyoshi-san and some other elders did the same. They all understand what Oryu-san wanted to say. The damn conflict is over now.
あの元気なサトコちゃんにも熱を出させるんだから、たちの悪い風だね。
It's very interesting. Like, you could make like parallels between how Wika is stuck in a quite literally a time loop within the June of 1983, but also at the same time, the village itself cannot move on from the damn conflict. It can't move on from it. It can't move on from the curse of Oshiro-sama. It can't move on from ostracizing the Hojo family. It just cannot move on. That's why they need Kechi, an outside force, to come in and change it. To make sure to break the curse of 1983 is to make everyone move on. Not just breaking the time loop itself, literally, but breaking this curse, breaking this conflict that's been happening for over 5 years, or 5 years by this point, letting everyone able to move on, which I think is a very, this one of this game's core messages is about change and how the younger generation can bring about change in its own way, and how the old guard can't change it themselves because of the rules they put in place themselves, really, trapped within their own jail cell. It's very interesting how just one of the main themes is change.
入江先生、二人をよろしく頼んます。面会謝絶だからしゃあないけど、二人に年寄りがみんな心配してるから、はよ元気になると伝えてください。
ええ、二人ともきっと喜ぶと思います。
I vow to myself. Takano-san is more than likely planning something for tomorrow, taking advantage of people's belief in the curse. I can't let that happen. The curse of Oshiro-sama will end before it can happen for a fifth time. I'm sure of that. Oshi couldn't accomplish the 48-hour operation alone. He would need help from someone else. Oshi called up both Kumagai and the old man from forensics and told them everything.
重ねて申し上げますが、こいつはヤバい橋になります。融資ならいいですがね、懲戒だったら退職金も吹っ飛びます。
なんだ大石、お前ヤバい作戦の前にはいつも隣の雀荘に部下を集めてそう脅してるそうじゃないか。いつもと変わらんのう。
そうっすよおじさん。いつものようにもっと元気に退職金が欲しいやつは10数える間に出てってくださいってやってくださいよ。そうじゃないと調子狂うっす。
いや、本当にヤバい話なんですよ、クマちゃん。その覚悟は本当にあるんですか？
試しに10数えてみればいいじゃないですか。なら今日は俺が数えるっす。退職金が欲しいやつは10数える間に退出してください。1、2、3。
わかりました、わかりました。クマちゃんの覚悟はよーくわかりました。いや、しかし本当にいいんですね。
あの日赤坂さんの武勇伝を聞いてるうちに熱くなってきたんす。やはり刑事になったからには巨悪と戦いたい。
I remember reading a comment from last episode about how this chapter in particular really puts a spotlight on the older cast, the adults in this chapter, which I think it makes a lot of sense because for the first 7 chapters, first 7 chapters, the adults were more like, they were still characters, but they were more, I don't know what to call them. What's the right word? More mysterious, I guess. Like, we didn't know a lot about them. It really just focused on, the main characters, aka the club. Well, here in chapter 8. Yeah, this is chapter 8. We really got a spotlight on pretty much the entire adult cast, from all the way from Takano to Oshi, about their motivations, about why they're doing the things they do, about everything. It really puts in that theme of chapter 8 being the truth, of revealing everything about, what is the motivations for, Oshi? What's the motivations for Takano? What does, Tomiki think of everything? What is his, relationship with Takano? And all of that. And it really does bring everything together. Like, it really does,
それに俺もやがては赤坂さんみたいに武勇伝を誇れる男になりたいんですよ。やばい橋、上等じゃないっすか。それに大石さんの提案する作戦で俺たち一度も失敗したことないです。だから俺、その大石さんがいけると思って誘った作戦ならビビりませんよ。
And also, another prospect to chapter 8 being the truth is us like switching from perspective to perspective in these latest chapters, because in the last of the game, it was really just one perspective. We were always going from one person, except in chapter 6 when it was switching between Luna and Kechi. But here, we get to switch all over the place, like here, and there. And it doesn't give the viewer whiplash, because we know all these characters in and out by this point. We know what the game board truly is. And I think that's, really cool. It's very cool, okay?
若いというのはいいの。こいつな、あの日以来赤坂君にだいぶ感化されよっての。秘密捜査や秘密事件に関わりたいと息巻いとったんじゃ。
いや若いっていいな。それでじいさまはどうします？
わしも乗るぞい。というか、そこまで言われたら会社の検視がそいつらをしょっぴけるかどうかを左右することにもなるからの。今日まで散々不養生を重ねてきた。そうそう、この老いぼれが長生きすることもないだろう。なら男に生まれたからには最後くらいでかい花を咲かせたいもんじゃ。
やれやれ。じいさまもクマちゃんもとにかく怖いもの知らずだな。だからドラが3つめくれてても強気でリーチ入っちゃうんだよな。
何言ってんすか、大石さん。男なら降りられない時がある。どうせ切るならど真ん中ってのは大石さんの口癖っすよ。
うん、違いない違いない。
わかりました。お二人の首、私が預からせてもらいます。
そうと決まればわしの方も少々準備がいる。今のメンツと機材じゃ薬物系まで調べるのは難しいからな。急いで知り合いの鑑識の中から手の空いた連中を呼びつけるか。大石、全部終わった後はちょいっとでかくおごってもらうぞい。
そこは任せてください。ですが、打ち明ける相手にはくれぐれも注意してくださいよ。署内にスパイ混じってるそうですから。
わかっとる。わしも伊達に人は見とらん。任せとけ。
よーし、燃えてきたっす。刑事魂本開っすよ。
It had taken Oshi all night to come to a decision, but those two had decided immediately. He couldn't help but question himself.
では、私はこのままちょいと用事があるんで出かけます。クマちゃんはじいさまを送ってあげてください。今日は非番なのにすいませんでしたね。
何、構わん。久々に男の血がうずいてきよった。これほど腕の鳴る大舞台、わしの人生でもこの年になって初めてじゃわい。ビビるどころか、ここは楽しませてもらうぞい。
ありがとうございます、じいさま。クマちゃん。
Oshi thanked them after seeing them off, although they couldn't hear. Oshi stopped by a flower shop. He bought a bouquet of balloon flowers. Usually the purple ones are the most popular. And Oshi was fond of that color too. Purple? Yes. But today, he didn't buy purple flowers, but got unusual white balloon flowers instead. With the bouquet in hand, he headed to the cemetery across from the flower shop. The date was June 18th. The real anniversary would be tomorrow, but so she had to work on Higurashi every year. He usually commemorated it on the previous day instead. It was the day before the anniversary of the death of the old man. The one Oshi considered a best friend, a brother, and father.
毎年毎年私は今年こそはおやっさんの右腕を見つけ出すと誓ってますがさっぱり見つかってません
Oshi spoke to the grave. He laid the bouquet of white balloon flowers down on top of it.
ですがようやくおやっさんの死の真相に近づく機会を得ましたただねそれが笑っちゃうんですよ園崎家は関係ないって言うんです私は毎年ここにお寮のばあさんを連れてきて土下座させてやるって誓ってきたのにそれが全くの大外れだったって言うんですよ私はすっかり参ってしまいましたねまたおやっさんにげんこつをもらっちまいます勝手に当たり牌を誤解してベタ折りしまくった挙句にドカンと痛い目に遭う決めつけないできっちり手を進めてりゃでっかい手がちゃんとできてたかもしれないのにです私は全然進歩してません魔女も相変わらずですよこんな一度思い込んだら疑うことも知らない頭の固いやつは多分バカって言われるんだろうなと思います
Oshi already had a vague idea. The way Irie had phrased it, he could already guess. There was no dark secret behind the old man's dismemberment murder. The events that followed were separate incidents. That particular murder was an individual incident. It had nothing to do with anything else. Since the main culprit was the only one who wasn't caught, Oshi needed someone to blame, and the mysterious Sonozaki family was the perfect target. The drama of revenge that Oshi believed in never existed.
私は今ヤバい橋を渡ろうとしてます。リスクの割に大した見返りはありません。せいぜい私というバカな思い込みを解いてくれるだろう真実ってやつを教えてもらえるだけです。ですがなんだかやっと私は自分ってやつを許してやれそうな気がします。
Oshi bowed deeply to the grave. And then he heard footsteps behind him. It had to be someone else who knew the old man. That person can't come on the day of Higurashi every year either, so they can come on the day before, just like Oshi does. They always bring blue Hydrogenous, purple balloon flowers, and those blue flowers don't go well together. That's the reason why Oshi always picks white ones. Usually the Hydrogenas are already there by the time he arrives, but as Oshi had his secret meeting with Kumagai early in the morning, he came straight to the graveyard afterward and arrived before this person did. Visiting the grave isn't a race. It's a spiritual matter. Oshi was curious about the other person who brings flowers every year, so he looked up. Who is it?
これは皆さんもどなたかのお墓参りですかな
Oshi stated the obvious, but from one glance, he could guess everything. Upon seeing the Hydrogenas in her arms, it all made sense.
おやおや、あんた勤務中じゃないのかい？悪いお人だね、まったく。
Akane Sonozaki laughed as she handed a bouquet of hydrangeas to her daughter, Shion. Shion, not knowing what to do, was caught between her mother and Oshi.
ほら、いつまでもお墓の前で突っ立ってんじゃないよ。そこをどき。
Oshi moved over as told and spoke.
まさかあんたが毎年おやっさんにアジサイを？
綺麗だろ、うちの庭のやつなのさ。やっぱり6月はアジサイさね。あんたの気境も珍しいね。白いのもあるのかい？それも涼しそうで良さげだよ。
ああ、大石のおじさま、ちょっとすみません。お花いけますんでお邪魔します。
Shion knelt down in front of the grave and got the flowers ready. She put the hydrangeas in the vase alongside the balloon flowers. The flowers looked beautiful in the vase together, reminding their onlookers that summer was about to start.
空前にしちゃいい取り合わせじゃないかい。白に青によく引き立て合ってるよ。
毎年私が来るとアジサイがありましたからね。青い花じゃ相性が悪いと思いまして。
なんだ、なら私たち相性はバッチリじゃないかい。
そうですね。
どうしたんです、おじさま？レントゲンに妙なもんでも映ってたんですか？なんか今日は嫌に神妙で気持ち悪いですね。
Do you think that might be it? Since you've been good to us, I'll bring some hydrangeas to your grave too, don't worry.
あと、うちの組の店にツケが残ってるだろう。そいつの請求書を備えに来てやるよ。
やれやれ、親子揃って口の減らない一家です。あいにくまだ当分お迎えは来ないみたいです。定年までもうラストスパートですが、まだまだ行きますよ。
なら結構。沖宮の一市民としては公僕の頼もしい一言で安心だね。
Their conversation should have been coded in social courtesies, yet something felt a little off about it.
しかし一つ教えちゃくれませんかね。死守同盟と現場監督のおやっさんは犬猿の仲だったはずでしょう。その二人がどうして花を備えてくれるんです？
そりゃ犬、猿さね。私たちは敵同士。
Right, Chion?
そうです。こんにゃろうはとにかくムカつくじじいでしたからね。噛みついてやったし、溝落ちに肘をくれてやったし、あと車のボディを10円玉で削ってやったり。
Shion, the statue of limitations isn't up yet. Shion stuck out her tongue and hid behind her mother in embarrassment.
それだけ仲の悪かったシオンさんまでがどんな経緯でここへ墓参りに来てるんですか？
てか、ダム戦争はもう終わりましたし。まあ敵とはいえ、いろいろシャレにならないこともしましたしね。
なんだい、納得いかないのかい？終わった戦争さね。ラグビーだって終わったらノーサイド、敵味方なしなんだろう。そういうことさ。
Akane said it as though it was a normal thing, but Oshi just couldn't understand. First of all, they hated each other. They hated each other. They spat at each other. How could they even feel like bringing flowers to his gravesite? However, Akane said that it was normal. Their moral standards weren't matching up.
私にゃあんたの方が理解できないね。私の中ではダム戦争は終わったことになってんだけど、あんたの頭の中ではまだ続いてるってのかい？
まさかちゃんと終わってますよ。あの騒々しいスピーカーが未だ頭の中から鳴りやまないなんて冗談じゃないです。
なら園崎家が墓参りしてもおかしいことはないだろう。ほらどきなどきな、私もお供えを持ってきたんだから。
Kane took out a small package from her bag and put it down in front of the grave.
その包み毎年見かけてましたが、中身は何なんです？
鬼ババ特製のおはぎです。酒飲みは甘いのは苦手だろうからって砂糖抜きだそうですが。
お寮のばあさんがダム監督の命日のためにおはぎを握ったとおっしゃるんですか？
毎年握って備えてるよ。あんた毎年見てるって今言ったでしょうが。
Hoshi was stunned. Oryu was the biggest hardliner in the Yonokafuchi Guardians, no question about that. Hoshi had believed for a long time that she was the mastermind behind the old man's murder. Because of that, he just couldn't believe that she had been making no hagi every year for his anniversary.
そんな顔しなさんな。もうさ、そういうのはおしまいにしようじゃないかい。
そういうのとは何のことですかな？
園崎家がダムの監督の墓前に花を供えちゃいけないとか、そういうのさ。もう昭和も60年になろってんだ。下手すりゃ数年もしないうちに元号も変わるかもしれない。そんな時代にまであんたは終わっちまった戦争をずるずる引きずりたいってのかい？
ご冗談を。もうあんな戦争はごめんです。平和が一番ですよ。
国にも悪いところがあった。反省が必要だね。でも私たちにも悪いところがあった。だから私たちは反省するよ。そしてそれはそれでおしまいになったなら、あとはいつまでもグダグダ言ってても仕方ないだろう。古い時代を片付けて新しい時代を作るのが若者の仕事さね。不幸な事件があってこの御人は死んじまったけど、もし生きてたなら私は一緒に酒を飲んで全部水に流したいと思ったさ。でも死んじまった。だからこの御人とはもう仲直りできない。悲しいことさ。
それが死別というもんですからね。
でもあんたは生きているじゃないかい。
そうですね。私は生きてます。あんたらも生きてます。
ならあんたともいつか仲良くできる日も来るかもしれないね。
さてどうでしょうね。
こいつを住職さんに。その後は表に車を回してきておくれ。
Kane took out an envelope from her pocket and gave it to Shion. Shion took the envelope, bowed to Hoshi, and then ran off.
ダム戦争の時は小生意気なお嬢さんだと思ってましたが、いつの間にか成長されたもんです。
ダム戦争から何年経ってると思ってんだい？
She's hit puberty and we even went boss rapping together.
いつまでも戦争状態じゃ心も体も持たないよ。それだけの時間が経ってるんだ。
それだけの時間が経ったんですね。時間は若者ほど濃密で年寄りほど希薄になる。
変わらないのは年寄りだけさ。でも時代と若者は絶えず成長してる。そしてぼんやりしてる間に私たちを追い抜いていっちまうのさ。で 私たちは隠居して若者を見守るのさ。おつなもんだろ。
おつなもんですな。あの獅子骨の鬼姫園崎茜にいつの間にか説教をされるようになったんですから。
嫌だね、そんな通りな。まだ覚えてるのかい？今じゃ獅子骨のレディーで通ってるんだよ。そいつは内緒にしてくれるとありがたいね。
ダム戦争も終わったんですしね。
そうさ、もう終わったことなのさ。
The two of them watch Shion and the police exchange words in front of the main temple building. Both were silent, but the air between them was comforting. There's no breeze, and a cabbage-white butterfly fluttered around them.
勤務中だろうけどさ。どうだい一つ、ひんやり練習でも行かないかい？
今日は遠慮しましょう。私も車ですし、あなたも車じゃないんですか？
そりゃ残念だね。またの機会にしようかい。
そうですな。またの機会にしましょう。
Something that had been sitting inside Oshi for a long time had started to dissipate. Something that had coagulated was melting away.
そろそろ戻ります。あなたもお嬢さんを待たせているでしょう。
そうさね。お開きにしよう。あんたとはいろいろあった気がするけどさ。これで一度パーッとチャラにしちゃいたいね。
そのあたりの生産会はまた後日に改めてやりましょう。いずれきっと。
Akane turned around with a big smile on her face. But all of a sudden, it changed into an impish grin.
それでね、大石の旦那。私たちのわだかまりがパーッとなくなったところでさ。昨日反則切符もらっちゃったんだけど、むしゃくしゃしてパーッと破り捨てちゃってさ。これもパーッとなかったことにできないかね。
ああ、そいつは最寄りの警察署へどうぞ。私に声をかけてくれりゃ順番待ちを優遇するくらいはしますよ。
チェ、サービスの悪い人だよ。
The laughter echoed under the blue sky. I have to say, I'm getting the sense of moving on as a major theme in this as well. Finally letting go. Oh boy. Finally letting go of the hatred for the Sonozakis from Oshi and truly talking to them. You know, another big message of this game is communication. Oshi always viewed the Sonozaki family as not as people, but as an entity to fight against, a mysterious organization that he had to fight against in order to get revenge for his best friend's death. And he truly never talked to them because he hated them so much. Like, the only times we've seen him, like, discuss with the Sonozaki family would be Shion back in chapter 6. 6? No, 5. Chapter 5. Yeah, chapter 5, yes. And, well, that didn't go exactly well. But he always viewed it as an entity and not as people. And it's such a, I don't know, the whole, like, bringing flowers to the gravesite, it's very obvious, but at the same time, it's so perfect of, like, they both went to the gravesite in order to honor the construction site manager. And the Sonozakis did it to try to move on from the damn conflict, while Oshi did it for the previous years in defiance, or as a sign of what would it be, to avenge him. That's the word. Yes, to avenge him. That's why the flowers were always polar opposites, and why they never matched up, with purple and blue not being colors that collaborate. But it's when Oshi finally understands that the Sonozakis aren't behind everything. He finally gets white flowers instead, in order to mix with the blue to a much nicer color palette, of how he has finally let go and is able to make amends finally, and let go of this hatred he has been holding on to for 4 years, and to finally move on. And I think that's just great. I think that's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Anyway, here we go with Takano.
いえいえ、失礼しました。
At the moment, I'm talking to a woman over the phone.
その後のお加減はいかがですか？
ええ、万事つつがなく。明日が祭りになりますわ。
そうですか。それは良かったです。
明日の夜、富武兄は哀れな事故へ。すべて廃棄したはずの H173 が投与された痕跡を残し、どういう形であれ、哀れな最後を遂げるでしょう。
それはとても楽しそうな幕開けです。こちらではすでに議事録の捏造が終了しています。入江二佐が研究継続を求めて他国に研究を売り渡そうとして独走し始める痕跡です。
富武殺しはそれに組み込まれる。
そうです。理事会に対し入江機関への疑問を抱かせる最初の布石になります。そのあたりの工作はすべてこちらが受け持ちますので、どうかお任せください。
それからその例の件ですが、もしもの時はいかがしましょうか。
もしもの時と申しますと？
あ、いえ、その富武兄が買収に応じた場合です。
It's very interesting that, even back when we saw Tomoki's murder, Takano still gave an out for Tomoki. There's still a bit of what's the word? God, what is the word? She's not fully committed to this. She isn't 100% for this. She's 90% in it. But she still cares for Tomoki. Not much Ire, but Tomoki is the one last connection she has. Because as we saw, Takano cared, at least a decent amount to tell Tomoki about her connection with Hifumi. So she still kind of is reaching out to Tomoki, but Tomoki was never able to see that Takano was crying for help. He was never able to see it. Even though he wanted a relationship with Takano, he was never able to act on it. He was never able to pull the trigger, finally. Because he just never saw it, of Takano isolating herself more and more, especially after Kazumi's death.
富武兄の買収は作戦には含まれていないのではありませんでしたか？
あ、いえ、だって彼は理事会の監査役です。 もしこっちの味方になってくれれば、いろいろ利用できることも多いかと。
こちらの分析では、今回の作戦に富武任意が寝返ってくれてもリスクの割に得るものはありません。作戦に不安要素をわざわざ加味する必要はないのではありませんか。
おっしゃる通りですわね。失礼しました。何かに使えるかと思ったもので提案しただけです。当初の予定通りに行きます。
それがよろしいでしょう。それではまた連絡します。失礼します。
For a while I kept holding the telephone receiver, lost in thought. Then I put it down and dialed a number that I had just become very familiar with.
はい。エコノミーホテル沖宮でございます。
Hotel.
406号室、富武をお願いします。高野とお伝えください。
Oh.
はい。今お取り次ぎしますので、少々お待ちください。
The telephone operator put me on hold, leaving behind only electronic music. I waited for about a minute and the operator came back on again.
申し訳ございません。406号室のお客様はただいま外出中でございます。お電話があった旨ご伝言いたしましょうか。
もう何度も伝言を頼んでるから結構です。富武さんはいつ外出したかわかりますか？いつ頃戻るかわかりますか？
申し訳ございません。それにつきましてはお答えできかねます。
わかりました。またかけます。
I put down the phone before the operator finished speaking. This is the third time I've tried calling him. Hey, as I was just saying before, trying to reach out to him. I left a message telling him to call me back, but he hasn't. Why? Is he out taking photographs by himself? Or is he waiting for me behind the shrine where we usually meet? The music is so great in this game, man. Who would think I would actually come all the way here expecting him to be waiting for me? I'm even surprised myself. People are in the middle of setting up tomorrow's festival. Tents are being put up for food stalls and preparations for various events are taking place. It's almost too noisy for me, what with people shouting as they work plus the noise from the batteries for the stalls. Soon I reached the back of the shrine before realizing it. This is probably the best view in the whole village. This is where Jiro-san and I usually meet. Just maybe he's waiting for me here. Of course, that's just wishful thinking. God will never grant my wishes. He only has a bit of fun by testing me. I looked down at the village below, letting the breeze blow through my hair. He usually follows me around where he stays in Himizawa. He persistently asks if I want to go out to eat, go for a walk, or take some photographs with him. But he hasn't done any of that this visit. His behavior towards me has changed. Maybe it's because he heard about the horrible impression I left with the new board of directors. Maybe he thinks I'm a mad scientist because of that incident. I can feel that he's gradually losing interest in me. But I had my own complaints too. When I don't want him around, he's so persistent. But when I need him to listen to me, I can't get a hold of him. But if I did get through to him, what would I even talk about? What could I talk to him about right after talking to someone about the plan to assassinate him? Why should he even answer my call? I'm simply running wildly, and when I reached a point of no return, I'll want to be forgiven. And I want him to do that for me. Just because he always does whatever I want him to do, and he shows up whenever I need him. Who would forgive someone like me, someone who has nowhere to go but hell? Would he forgive me out of sympathy? No way. I'll be surprised. He'll do his job and arrest me. I'm a member of the SDF after all, so what I'm doing is committing treason. I've been thinking about him a lot for the past few days. Just now I realized something. He's not attractive at all as a man. He has no sense of humor or good taste. He has nothing, absolutely nothing. Oh, he has a belly. There's nothing appealing about him. He doesn't care about my schedule, he's persistent, and when I treat him nicely because I'm in a good mood, he becomes even more persistent. There really is absolutely nothing good about him. Despite his age, he tells me things how the last time he held a woman's hand was when he did folk dancing at some summer camp. Furthermore, he says those things to make me laugh. He's hopeless. But more than anything, I can't stand when he completely ignores my feelings. I want to be alone sometimes. I don't want to do anything sometimes, yet he drags me out, completely ignoring how I feel. That's why even when I'm exhausted or I don't feel like doing anything, I end up going with him, which makes me laugh. I always thought that just wore me out, yet I want him to drag me around. I'll probably never feel this way again, and yet he's not here. Do I really believe I don't want to spend time with him? Maybe I've just grown used to his abundant affection. When he took me out on a day, I didn't want to do anything. I was in a bad mood at first, but after a while, I started to feel better and found myself having a lot of fun. If he was with me now, would he take me out to photograph birds like always? Would he happily explain it all with his know-how, even though I didn't ask? That'd be very boring and troublesome, but that's what I honestly want now. Do I see my grandpa in him? I loved my grandpa. He gave me a purpose to live. I needed him. I loved Uncle Kusumi. He helped me with my dream. I needed him. After both of them died, maybe I just sought their aspects in him. Am I starving for a protector? Maybe I'm so traumatized by my parents' accident that I need to have someone nearby to watch over me all the time. Maybe I'm still immature. My inner child is throwing a fit because she can't put together a toy, saying that if it's going to be broken anyway, she's going to break it herself. It won't be just my problem. It will bring about huge, elusive tragedy. But that's the only way to prove the truth of my grandfather's work. That belief allowed me to prepare up to this point. In just a few days, the top members of the government will be scrutinizing my grandfather's article. And terrified by the worst-case scenario he predicted, they'll regret canceling our research and neglecting countermeasures as they pass their final resolution. That's when my grandfather's article will become truth, his great work uplifted, and his name carved into the pages of history. And then he will become a god, an eternal existence. And I will reveal the god worshipped as Oshiro-sama to be the Himizawa syndrome, casting them down to earth. I'm going to complete the 5th curse of Oshiro-sama with Jiro-san's death, as well as my own. I'll become the one who curses, not the one who is cursed. I'll be in the position to test instead of being tested. I will ascend to godhood. I'm going to make the curse a reality, and I'm going to kick the god of this place off her throne. And then grandfather and I will be together forever. Gods don't get tested. Fate doesn't test gods. No grief will separate us. I will be with my grandpa forever. After that, we're going to work on our research together in that study, filled with the smell of formalin. The scene from Happier Days. Grandpa is at his desk, writing down something. I'm in a good mood, lying on my stomach on the carpet right behind him while flapping my legs and humming a tune. I help him with his research by organizing his books as if I was playing with blocks. To return to those times is my only wish. Of course, if I could go back that far, I'd want my parents to be alive too. If I could play with my grandpa's books, while listening to my mother cooking in the kitchen and my father flipping through his newspaper, that would complete my happy world. It would be my ideal childhood. But that world doesn't have a door to the outside world. So I can't go over to my friend's house. Because if I did go to my friend's house, there wouldn't be anybody there when I returned. Nobody. Because they'd all died in a train accident. So I don't want an outside world. I want to stay in my house with my parents and my grandfather. I am a doctor after all. I can analyze myself. I know that what I'm wishing for is proof of my immaturity. But if I know that much, then why do I still long for a parental figure in Jiro-san? Even as I plan an operation which includes his death, I'm still trying to hang on to him. If I'm going to betray people so I can become a god, then I should remain a villain until my final moments. But if I'd rather be a lonely little girl, I should remain modest and humble until my final moments. Either way, if it is my way of life, nobody can criticize me for it. Because if I believe it is right, then all I can do is go on without listening to such criticism. But I still can't decide. So I want somebody to criticize me. Nobody's ever criticized my way of life. That's why I want to hear someone do it. I want someone to tell me my way of life is wrong. I want Jiro-san to tell me I've done such a stupid thing, and I want him to slap me. Such masochistic desires speak a great deal as to how I'm rejecting my present self. Am I really still longing for a parent? Am I too old to call myself immature? Even if I do, nobody else will. No matter how immature I am inside, people will treat me as a grown person. They will say I possess an adult's responsibility and proper judgment and that they've brought me this far already. Then I'll be judged before the devil. Will I still plead not to judge my immature self as a grown-up? Am I going to act that pathetically even in front of the devil? I'm already going to hell, yet I can't completely become a devil. I hate the idea of hell, yet I refuse to try and repent. My mind can only float in a wake of blood drifting as I drown. If only Jiro-san was here. My mind would clear up as I played along with his insensitive chatter. Why isn't he around when I need him the most? This is the last chance I'll have to spend time with him. I hate how immature I am, becoming so insecure just because he isn't around. The biggest thing with Takano is that she's always drifting. There's nothing... Oh my god. We all have anchors. Be it family, be it community, be it friends, be it hundreds, thousands of things. We have anchors to ourselves that keep us stable, that keep us afloat. And every single character in this game has that. Has friends, has family, has, I guess in Oshi's case, he still has his partner, Kumagai. They all have anchors. The only person who doesn't have a single anchor is Takano. She doesn't really have friends. The only partner she has is Tomiki. And she wants an anchor. She needs an anchor. She needs someone in her life. But every time she finds someone or is a part of something, it is ripped away from her. She had her parents at first. Then they were whipped away by that train accident. Then she was put into a hell. Then once she's finally rescued from that hell by Hifumi, and once she thinks she finally has an anchor, someone to rely on, to keep her afloat, he's also pulled away from her. Then she finally has the Eerie Institute. Sure, it's not in her name, but she still has that. She still has the science. She still has the experiment. She still has the hypothesis that her grandfather constructed. And because her grandfather was her previous anchor, she wants to honor him. She wants to so desperately honor him. And so she's attached to another anchor of the Eerie Institute. And now, after the death of Kazumi, she's being told that this yet another anchor she's been tethered to for past couple years is also being torn away from her. That no matter what she does, she doesn't have any say in her life. She can't do anything, be it, all the times it's been by greater powers, be it the train accident, be it a will of God, as Takano puts it, be it Hifumi's suicide via dementia, be it just the board of directors at the Tokyo organization. She's always being pushed around by the wind, and she's never had a say in any of it. And once she's finally being told what to do by another anchor, by Nomura, she says, okay. Because the reason why she's destroying the Himizawa Syndrome, why she's destroying Himizawa itself, is because it's the first time in her life that she finally has control of something. It is absolutely horrible what she's doing, but what she's doing by taking down the entire village, but she's finally has some sense of control, of making it so it's herself that's destroying the anchor instead of any other powers. And she needs Tomiki. She needs someone else because she didn't grow up with an anchor. We all need anchors, and she doesn't have any. I think I finally figured out why Takano does it, and it makes so much sense now. And it's sad. It's tragic. It's tragic to have no sense of control in your own life. It's tragic that you feel like you can't control a single thing, that greater powers do everything for you. And yet she's still trying to reach out to Tomiki. God, this game's great. This writing's fantastic, man. Oh, it's fantastic. I found myself before the lavatory box. I came here when the Eerie Clinic's construction had ended and the research team at the Eerie Institute was about to begin. I remember how bravely I challenged the god of this place. I was full of hope and ambition. After going through many hardships, I finally came this far. I even vowed I would become a god. I did so in front of the god of this place. I can vaguely recall my grandfather telling me a story similar to that. That's right. It was the story of the Tower of Babel. When there was only one language in this world, all people lived in one place with one will. In a display of their authority, they started to build a tower that would reach heaven. God got angry because these people had forgotten how to show respect to him. He believed all of man gathered to commit such an affront because they all shared one language and one will. So their communion was shattered. People were thrown into disorder, and they were given many different languages so they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other. And as they couldn't communicate with each other, many left, and the tower which challenged heaven fell to ruin. Something like that, anyway. I'm not sure what the lesson is, but this is what my grandfather explained to me. Building a tower that reaches up to heaven is the greatest challenge for humans, but it is also a challenge to God. To challenge God was truly sinful, but as humans, we couldn't help but test that untrodden peak. It's not easy to build a tower that's high enough to reach heaven. While they're building the tower, the people will fall into disharmony and lose the mutual understanding they once started with. Their united wills thrown into disarray. This applies not just to a group of people, but can be said about one person as well. No matter how solid their will, the closer they come to heaven, the more limits God imposes on man. So even iron wills are sure to waver at some point. It is just too arrogant for humans to think they can always carry out their original intentions. That must have been what my grandfather was thinking deep down. I'm sure he lost hope many times since nobody ever recognized the value of his research. Yet he believed in himself, and he believed that someday his work would be appreciated. Maybe that was his wish rather than reaching heaven. Grandfather realized he wouldn't be able to complete his research, and maybe he was trying to find where he could compromise. Humans can't build a tower that reaches heaven. But the story of the Tower of Babel is still around. It didn't reach heaven, but we still tell the story of the tower that challenged God. According to the story, the tower was left behind with nobody to work on it. The incomplete tower stayed in that place for a long time, never achieving its goal. But if someone were to see it, they would realize how great it was that someone accepted that challenge and praised their name. I took over the tower from my grandfather and tried to make it reach heaven, but I ended up succumbing to the same fate. And if it's going to be destroyed anyway, I will try to destroy it myself. What am I doing anyway? If I hadn't tried to continue grandfather's research, his work on Himizawa syndrome would have remained forever. Even if it was an empty tower that nobody ever visited, if somebody did come by, they would praise whoever attempted that challenge. They would have praised my grandfather. But I took over his work, and I built the tower even closer to heaven, which made God angry, and the tower is now going to be destroyed. The tower will become a pile of rubble. When the Yurei Institute is shut down, all of its records will be destroyed. My grandfather's wish for his work to be appreciated by someone will never be granted. I tried to make my grandfather an eternal existence, yet I ended up making that an impossibility. How can I call myself Mio Takano? Instead of inheriting the 1, 2, 3 from my grandfather and continuing the count to 3 and 4, I reduced it all to 0. If it wasn't for me, my grandfather's work would have remained an empty tower. It would have stayed in this world forever. But I ruined it. I did that. I can feel myself sweating. This sweat reminds me that I've done something inexorable. When did I make a mistake? Where did I go wrong? It wasn't when I came here. It was before that. I started to walk down the wrong path long before that. If I put myself in my grandfather's spot, I know. My grandfather was working on a great challenge. He built a mighty tower, and it was supposed to continue to stand there and wait for someone to appreciate it. Grandfather definitely said he wanted his work to be valued by someone even after his death. But I misunderstood. Somewhere along the way, I made a wrong turn. I misinterpreted grandfather's wish, and I ruined it. I ruined everything. I tried to make him an eternal existence, yet I destroyed him. Grandfather built an eternal tower, yet I raised it. Where did I make a mistake? What went wrong? It's obvious. My grandfather counted to 3, and with that it was complete. I simply tried to do more with addition, and everything collapsed, and now all of it is ruined. I shouldn't have tried to count to 4. I shouldn't have done anything. Besides, grandfather didn't even ask me to continue his research. A little girl shouldn't play in this dark study. Go outside and play with her friends. I remember my grandfather telling me things like that. But I refused, and I stayed in the study so I could help him. And eventually he stopped telling me to play outside and just enjoyed having my company while he worked. But when we first met, he used to say things like that. Then what? Living with Grandpa was the first mistake I made? Then what? When I escaped the orphanage, I shouldn't have called Grandpa. I shouldn't have found a 10-yen coin. I shouldn't have asked Grandpa to help me. Now I remember. I know where I belong. Bang, 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 bang. The noise of something metal striking something else is getting closer. It's getting closer and closer. I'm not allowed to fall asleep. I wasn't asleep, I just had my eyes closed, that's all. Sorry. Don't kick. I'm afraid of the metal sound. Please don't kick it. I'm not being kicked, but the noise is kicking me. So please don't kick the metal fence, please. My body's getting cracked. I think my body's getting cracked. All the dirty, itchy, and painful things soaked into these cracks, and the filth and prickling feels horrible. It's soaking into my chest, gathering together. I desperately try to resist so that it won't touch my heart. But the dirtiness and itching draws together more and more. My whole chest is soaked, and soon enough my face will be swallowed. Even drowning in this dirtiness and itching, I try desperately to hold my breath so that at least my heart won't be soaked with it. Damn it! Bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. I can't hold my breath any longer. I drown in an ocean of muck. And yet, as I'm taking on the muck, my heart desperately struggles not to be tainted by it, to rise above it until my heart too sinks into the sea of grime. Only creatures that have lived on land will gasp and suffer the pain of drowning as they long to return to dry land. Creatures that have always lived in the ocean never drown. Grandpa won't come help me. That is the best thing for me and him both. See, when I stop struggling, there's no more noise. I don't have to hear that scary metal noise. Is it a roar or a yell? I needed to borrow strength to scream in order to come back to the present world. My body's all sweaty, feels dirty, itchy, and painful. It reminds me of that day. I can feel welts coming on as the sweat crawls down my skin. No, it's just a delusion. It can't be itchy. Because of all that is long over. I take a bath every day. I scrub my body until it's raw and red. It's not even the slightest drop of that horrible filth could possibly remain. I can't help it. I remember the filth. I can only get rid of it by scratching my arm so hard it leaves marks. I can't get rid of the itching. I can't get rid of the filth. Of course I can't. I'm a filthy existence. Grandpa should have never saved someone like me. Meaning me made him unhappy. I shouldn't have existed. I shouldn't have been born. I should have stayed inside the metal fence and spent my whole life there. I need to go back inside it. I should have never left. That place is where I belong. Corner me with that horrible metal noise. Crush me with that filth, itchiness, and pain. And then kill me, so that I'll never meet Grandpa. Is that your wish? Yes, much like those left behind at the top of Babel's crumbling tower, or Icarus unable to reach heaven only to fall, That is my final wish. Bring me back inside that metal fence, and give me back the fate that's suitable for my filthy existence. The wish of a liar will never come true. But I'm not a liar. You have spoken your true wish once, yet you have never went to realize that's your greatest wish. And I cannot grant that wish just yet. Are you saying that's the punishment we sinful humans face for challenging God? You should already know. The strength of your desire is what creates the future. You lack that strength. Are you saying I haven't tainted myself enough? Will even the gates of hell remain shut for someone not fully committed like me?
Rika-san, Satoko-chan.
So I guess that's where we talk now, finally. Well, that's when Takano finally 100% is on board with killing everything. She finally succumbs to the filth. And she blames herself now of ruining her grandfather's research. And so she decides finally to become a villain, to become someone that should have never been born, and to bring destruction to all of this.
容体はいかがですか？私です。入江です。
As Akasaka warned me, I have to be careful. Akasan opened the door silently.
お疲れ様です。外は賑やかですね。
明日のお祭りの準備で大にぎわいです。これは模擬店部会さんからお見舞いにと持たされたかき氷です。せっかくなのでいただきましょう。
Damn, I haven't had shaved ice in a long ass time.
これはありがたい。いただきましょう。
Akasaka-san is wearing a t-shirt, but he's still drenched in sweat. All the windows have been shut, and he can't even open the curtains, so it's very hot out inside. But even accounting for that, he's still sweating like mad.
すごい汗ですね。確かにこの暑さでは無理もありません。
いえ、トレーニングを少ししていただけです。ドタバタするわけにはいきませんので、もちろん気をつけながらですが、有事があるなしにかかわらず、体は常に臨戦態勢にしておかなければ。
Usually I work on my neck.
適度な運動は気分転換にもいいですからね。このようなところでずっと緊張を強いられていては精神的にも参ってしまうでしょうに。
いえ、慣れてますから。でも先生の差し入れはとても助かります。
Akasaka-san smiled like a happy child as he ate the strawberry-flavored shaved ice.
何か動きはありますか？富武さんから連絡は？
いえ、まだ何も動きはありません。あ、高野さんが富武さんと連絡がつかないと言っていました。
身の安全のために宿を変えているはずでしたね。感づかれたのでしょうか？
いえ、そういう不信感を持ってはいないようです。私も写真撮影に飛び回っているのではないかとフォローしています。
怪しまれるのも時間の問題ですね。風向きはどちらにせよ近いうちに強い風が吹きそうです。入江先生、くれぐれもご用心を。
ちろんですよ。ああ、そうだ。先ほど大石さんにお会いしまして、こんな話が進んでいるので伝えてほしいと頼まれました。
I explained the 48-hour operation to Akasaka-san. Akasaka-san seemed impressed with the notion, especially because I told him it came from the girls.
うまい手ですね。
Kechi is absolutely seething at that notion.
連中に相当の揺さぶりをかけられるでしょう。そのうろたえぶりから富高さんが敵の尻尾をつかめる可能性は十分にあると思います。で、その作戦の指導は？
それは今夜大石さんと皆さんが打ち合わせして決めるようですが、やはり時間はかけられないということで、早ければ明日の早朝には決行するそうです。
そうですね。長い時間臨戦態勢でいるのはかなりの消耗を強いられます。撃てる手があるなら早いうちの方がいい。
赤坂さんがひなみ沢に滞在できる休暇の限界もありますしね。いつまでなんですか？
家内には一応日曜日の深夜には帰ると言いましたが、事情が変わればやむを得ません。幸恵も刑事の妻です。分かってくれると思います。
ここでは奥さんに電話をすることもできませんね。それは辛い役を押し付けてしまったものです。
大丈夫です。新婚時代じゃあるまいし、毎晩電話しなきゃ見下り班ってわけじゃありません。
Although he says that, it's easy to tell that Akasaka-san wants to hear the sound of her voice.
赤坂さんの方では何か変化はありましたか？何か必要なものがあれば持ってきますので。
必要なものは特にありません。変化は難しいところです。何しろ祭りの準備でこれだけの出入りがありますからね。その中に不審な気配が混じり込んでいてもとても私には分かりません。むしろ逆にこの人混みの中にここを監視する敵も混じり込んでいると思って警戒するくらいがちょうどいいでしょう。
そうですね。そうそう、山犬ですが、やはり赤坂さんがおっしゃったように動き出しているようです。
When I asked Okonogi about their plans, he said he's raising the security level for the days surrounding the festival to take into account the possibility that some criminal might use the 5th year of the curse to target Rika-chan.
現在の状況と一致しますね。まるで明日の祭りに合わせて表も裏も全ての準備が同時に進んでいる気がします。
明日はいろいろな意味で祭りになる
The battle is about to begin.
とおっしゃるわけですね。
If the 48-hour operation gets underway tomorrow morning, it will be quite the turbulent day. Yes, everything will change, starting tomorrow, June 19th, 1983. A tempestuous day that divides a peaceful world from a tragic one. The fate of the world will change on that day. I finished my secret meeting with Akasaka-san and left while calling up to the second floor window, pretending to address the girls. When some villagers saw me do that, they asked me how they were doing. They asked me about both girls, which made me very happy. What Ori-san said yesterday had already spread among the villagers. In other words, the curse of Osho-sama may have already lifted, even before tomorrow's festival. If nothing happens tomorrow, then this village is finally free from the curse and the ghost of the damned conflict. As we prepare for the upcoming battle, I realize the extent of the responsibility we've taken on. But at the same time, that gives me strength. After greeting the officials under the main tent, I ran into Takano-san as I headed back to the clinic. It's unusual for her to be here alone. If Tomiki-san was with her, I could understand, but she never come here by herself. For a moment I thought maybe she suspected a connection between me and Akasaka-san, but it doesn't seem that way. I'm relieved.
珍しいですね。こんなところでどうされたのですか？
いいえ、別に。ちょっとした気まぐれの散歩ですわ。
そうですか。今日は気持ちいい風が吹きますからね。散歩も気持ちがいいと思いますよ。
二郎さんもそんな風に誘われて一人で散歩に行っているのかしら。
Those words had a strange nuance to them. Takano-san normally only spends time with Tomiki-san out of politeness. At least that's how she's been acting. So when I heard her say that, I was a little surprised.
そうかもしれません。彼は東京の人ですからね。ひなみ沢の自然や空気はとても貴重なものだとわかるのでしょう。
所長、二郎さんどこに行かれてるかご存知ありません？
いえ、存じませんが。はて、
昨夜の会合にも欠席してますわね。他のスタッフが進行してくれたからいいですけど、本来なら二郎さんの役目じゃないんですかしら。職務怠慢でしてよ。
This is going in the wrong direction. I have to change the subject.
まあ、彼もたまには羽を伸ばしたいと思うこともあるんじゃないでしょうか。彼にもあるんですよ。一人になりたい時が。あなたと同じにね。
そうですわね。私ったら。
I think that went well. She didn't ask about Tomiki-san after that. When I look around, I can imagine how lavish the festival is going to be tomorrow. Feel like you kind of fucked up here, right? Higurashi is the biggest festival of the year around here. It's grown in scale ever since the dam conflict ended, and this year the village festival is hitting a peak. I'm sure villagers of all ages will enjoy themselves tomorrow. Takano-san and I overlooked that heartwarming scene.
明日は楽しいお祭りになるでしょうね。
ええ、楽しい祭りになりますわね。
The conversation was very ironic. We both meant something different as we spoke.
祭りの幕開けが楽しみですね。
ええ、楽しい祭りの幕開けですわ。
I noticed an indescribably bitter smile on her face.
明日は晴れるといいですね。せっかくここまで準備して雨で中止なんて気の毒です。
ここまで大々的に準備した盛大なお祭りですもの。
What is this music? Because it's great.
雨天ごときで中止になるわけありませんわ。
そうですね。明日はどんな天気になろうとも必ず祭りになりますね。
ええ、盛大なお祭りになりますわよ。きっと。
Grand festival indeed. Oshi-san had agreed to participate. In other words, he had given us the green light.
やるね。さぞや話をまとめるのは難しかったでしょう。
や、それがね、私が呆れるくらいあっさり皆さん船に乗ってくれちゃいまして。いやー、若さっていいなあ。私一人だけがうじうじとみっともないったらありゃしないです。もう後には引けません。この大石クラウド、切るならど真ん中、最後まで突っ張りますよ。
Oshi-san was always a man with great presence. He seems pretty reliable when he's that determined. This will work. This operation will be a success. The enemy is unthinkably strong, but we're going on the offensive first. It's like in sumo, right? No matter how huge the opponent may be, there's a chance the entire match can be settled in an instant with a quick shift in stance during the opening rush.
もうあんたに口を挟む気はないわ。ほんの数日前まで私は運命に屈しかけていたというのに、これは本当に運命をひっくり返せるかもしれない。
リカ、そんな弱い気持ちではダメなのです。
そうね、ひっくり返せるかも。じゃん、ひっくり返す。
Fuck yeah.
私たちは運命を打ち破る。
となれば次に重要なのはトラップのタイミングですわね。
タイミングも何もねえだろ。即時発動だろ。今夜にはリカちゃんが姿を消してから48時間が成立する。待てば待つほど相手を利するんだから、すぐに仕掛けるべきだと思うぜ。
そうだね。慎重さは今回に限り相手を利するだけというのはどうか。守りは慎重であるべきだけど、攻めは大胆であるべきだと思う。ケンイチとメナの太鼓判がもらえればとても心強いのです。どうですかみんな。
私は依存ないわ。もう覚悟は決まってる。いつだって OK よ。
木はすでに熟してる。どう見るサトコ。
急ぐのはもちろんですけど、今すぐというのは早すぎますわ。相手の隙を突くならもう少し冷静に引き金を絞るべきでございましたよ。
奇襲なら夜だろ。今を除いて最高のタイミングがあるのかよ。
まあ落ち着きな。サトコの言うのも一理あるし、ケイちゃんの言うのも一理ある。奇襲の定番は野襲。でもね、今の私たちを見てごらん。ほら、こうして深夜でも血気盛んでしょ。野襲が効果的だったのは電気がなかった時代の話だよ。近代戦では深夜は奇襲になり得ない。もっと最適な時間帯がある。
奇襲により適した時間帯があるのですか？はわわ
わかったわ。幼稚の反対。朝がけね。
ほほう。難しい言葉をご存知ですね。
God damn it, is that why the... I fucking heard this once before, but there's a fighting game called Higurashi Dave Wake. Is it because of this shit? God damn it!
確かに人間、どの時間に一番電話がもらいたくないかと言ったら、深夜よりは明け方です。何しろ寝ぼけているところでは正常な判断ができませんから。
夜明け前の奇襲。いいタイミングだと思う。
私もそれが一番効果的だと思う。高野さんの性格から考えて5年目のたたりを装う形で何かのアクションを起こす可能性は極めて大だと思う。 なら今夜はそれの前夜にあたる。
前夜ほど流行る心を抑え十分な睡眠をとろうと思うのが人というものなのです。見えてきましたわね、最高のトラップタイミングが。
夜明けの奇襲か。くわ、なんだよそれ。男として生まれたからには一度はやってみたいシチュエーション。燃えてきた。
前原さんもうちの連中と同じですね。おや？ということは男で燃え上がっていないのは私だけってことですかね。やれやれ。よーし、ならいいですね。明日の早朝に48時間作戦を発動します。これで敵がどう動くかです。相手をか乱し、その出方に合わせて攻撃する。これは遊撃作戦ですよ。
よし、部長園崎美音の名において48時間作戦の発動を命ず。決行は明朝4時。一気に慌ただしくなる可能性が高い。総員は何があっても即応できるよう心身のコンディションを最高で保つこと。そして忘れるな、ひなみ沢の後輩はこの一戦にあり。敵の陰謀を許せば村が滅ぶかもしれないんだよ。
けんなこと我が部の目が黒いうちには許すかってんだ。
さあ、相手がどう出るか。鬼が出るか、大蛇が出るか。みー、ニャーニャーが出てくるかもなのです。そうだったら可愛いですわね。それはないです。絶対に大きな動きが起こります。例えるならこれは微震。大きな津波が押し寄せる前の予兆のよう。そうだね。レナもその微震を感じてるよ。さあ、その津波を起こしてやろう。飲み込まれるのは村か連中か。
俺たちはその波で波乗りとしゃれ込んでやるぜ。
This 48-hour operation will be a shock to the enemy. They'll panic, their pace will be off, and they're guaranteed to slip up somehow. We don't know how they're going to slip up, but just knowing that they will and preparing ourselves to act gives us the full advantage. We're surrounded, our enemies are this huge game board that is Himizawa. This game, this festival, will start with our siege. Come on, we're ready! We're ready for June 19th, 1983! Hey Rika, have this many emotions ever gathered on this day? Actually, there were always this many emotions in this world. There were always countless numbers of them gathered on this forgotten June 19th. We just never realized it, because we always looked at the world subjective way. There are so many people in this world, and each of them has very important emotions. Those countless feelings are collecting together and giving shape to this world, this fragment. With this many emotions, what kind of world will we see? What kind of fragment will we be granted? Who will win, Takano or us? The time to find out is now. Let's open it. Let's open the door to June 19th of 1983. Let's fucking go, bro. Holy shit. The final battle to decide everything. The grand festival of June 19th, 1983, baby. Damn. Damn. Fucking hype, dude. Every time when the door to the 19th, preparations complete. Just when I think, like, God, this chapter won't get me hyped up, it fucking always does, and we're coming so close to the final battle, to escaping this June of 1983, and goddamn, I'm fucking excited. Fucking pumped, bro. Everyone's finally working together. No more doubts, no more anything. It's so fucking great. Fucking love it. Fucking love it. It's very, very, tropey of everyone coming together, but I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if it's a trope or a cliche. I don't give a fuck, alright? I don't care. The reason why it's a trope or a cliche of people coming together is because it fucking works, and this game makes it fucking work, god damn it. I don't give a shit about, oh, it's just a fucking power of friendship message. Yes, it is, motherfucker, and it justifies it. It's perfect for the story, god damn it. Fucking love this story, man. I fucking love it. Fucking love it. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this type of content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. When you tell me something, put it down in the comments below. Want to check out the Discord server I hang out in, or my Twitter, check the description below. And yeah, this has been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!